morning, guys. I have been sick the past couple of days, so there's a few things around the flower farm that have really gotten out of hand, so today is the day we're going to tackle some of those. First up, I'll show you guys my embarrassing tray of seedlings. These were going to be my next sunflower succession, but they've been in here far too long and a lot of them have scorched. While I was down, we got up almost into the hundreds, and so it was just really hot and I was not able to get out and water these. So the ones that have survived will get planted out today. Everybody else is kind of brown, but you can see that they already are starting to grow multiple sets of leaves, and there's enough root that I can just pull them up out of their cell pack. So I don't know if these sunflowers will actually do anything, but fingers crossed. I've got about 10 of them that look pretty good. So if they do anything, then that works for me, and if not, that's okay too. Because it's so late in the season, I'm going to go ahead and direct sow some seeds as well, just as a last ditch effort to get something in the ground for my late fall blooms. My yellow bush beans have gotten way out of control, so we'll take some time harvesting these first. Next up is my zucchini, and as I reach around in here in the grass, I'll notice that there is a huge one. Now, a zucchini this size is probably not ideal for slicing and eating fresh, but it will work really well for shredding and using in zucchini bread and muffins and things like that. The squash bugs are taking over the zucchini at this point, so it's okay if I don't have a lot left going. I've harvested probably 15 zucchinis this season, and I'm happy with that. You can barely see my miniature tomato in here. This is a Tom Thumb, I believe. I got the seeds from Baker Creek. For some reason, this guy is just kind of covered in these beetles, so I'm gonna go ahead and take any of the fruit that is starting to ripen so that they don't take it from me. Ideally, I would grow this kind of tomato in my green stalk or something, but I was just kind of behind this year, so I just stuck it in the ground. While we're over here, I'll harvest a couple of these San Marzano tomatoes. I have done a terrible job of staking and taking care of my tomatoes this year. Okay. So this is not ideal, and again, I've been sick, so I haven't done anything in the past week and a half or so. Okay, here we go. We've got probably a cup and a half of beans, a couple tomatoes, a zucchini that I can use to shred, and let's look at the dahlias while we're over here too. Now, because of the intense field grass that they hay next door, my dahlia patch here and my flowers in these rows have really been stunted, but this one is the first one to bloom. Oh, Hello, little guy. It really is lovely. In real life, it has more of an orange undertone, but then on camera it looks a little more pink, I guess, but it's really pretty. I'll put the name on the screen. I'm a big fan of this one. It's just started to bloom, and you can see that there's more blooms coming on. So both of the ones that I have of this variety are blooming first, and then I have some from seed that are about to bloom as well that I'll show you guys. Behind my dahlias is some mahogany splendor hibiscus, and this gets about 4 to 5 feet tall in my experience. I grew it last year, so hopefully this will be in full glory in the fall so that I can use it in fall arrangements. While we're over here, I'll show you guys a few of my floret zinnias. This is the Dawn Creek Pastel Mix. This one is just a lovely peachy color. And you can see I've made some deep cuts in the plant. This is one plant, and it has more blooms coming. This one also has peach tones. It's a little bit more antique-y looking as it fades. This one is like a really, really pale, almost lavender pink. I love that one. Here's another peachy one with yellowish in the center. And I'm a big fan of these. They almost look like if you were watercoloring and you spilled some paint on them. I love the bicolor look of these petals, and the butterflies or moths, whatever that guy is, seems to like them too. This one is sure pretty, isn't it? And it's a similar one with the multicolored petals. Here's one that's a bit smaller. I don't love bright red, but you just cannot beat the size of the Benary's giant zinnias. And I have all different colors growing. The red was just the one that bloomed first. This one is one that I saved seeds from a long time ago. I think it's a mix of a cactus and a regular blend. It's just pink with yellow in the center, but I like it. The bugs kind of got to it before it could fully open out, but I'm leaving it for the butterflies, and you can see on the same plant there's more blooms coming. It makes me feel like things aren't quite so bad when I can look in my garden and see what's blooming and looking nice, even after I've taken a little bit of time off when things are crazy and weedy and need to be staked up and helped. It's kind of nice to take a second to look at the blooms and to get a boost of encouragement from those. Next up, we're going to plant those sunflowers that need desperately to get out of their containers, and then we'll also plant some seeds as well. Alright, before we plant some new seeds and seedlings, we really need to take care of this dill. The other day in a video, I harvested some seeds from this dill, and really all that entails is just when the seeds are ready, pulling them off. I have a baggie of them, and I'm fine with them spreading here in this garden space. Truly the reason that I've left the dill for so long is for these caterpillars, but my goal is to just go ahead and trim it back and leave it at the back of the bed so that they can still continue to eat on it as it has a little bit of life left in it, and then soon they will go into chrysalis. So first things first, I need to hack back this dill and get that taken care of. I may leave a couple toward the back for the caterpillars, and then we will put our seeds at the front. All right, if you can see them, I got all 12 of those sad seedlings in the ground here in the corner of my bed. And I'm just going to take up the rest of the space with some seeds. I'll just use this area here and any other little space that I find. If you look at this ProCut orange sunflower packet with me, it says 50 to 60 days. This means from after it's sprouted, not from when you first put it in the ground, but because it's nice and warm and we're about to get rain, it shouldn't take too long for these to sprout. I'm planting extra just because I know that there might be loss because of insects or the weather or whatever. So it will only take, hopefully, about 2 months for these to get going and be blooming for me. So I will have these at the end, or I guess the middle of October. It's middle of August almost now. So I should have these by the middle of October, and our last frost isn't until the end of October. So if I go ahead and get these in the ground, the early blooms I'll have at hopefully middle of October, at the latest end of October before my last frost. These ProCut white lights are the same thing, 50 to 60 days, so I'll have them in the middle of October. And I'm also planting these Isabellina zinnias. They may or may not bloom in time. I think they should be okay because they're pretty quick, but I just want to try these out this year and see what the bloom looks like and see if I want to plant them for next year. So I'll just be finding spaces for each of these. I'll be using my Hori, this guy, just like I did for my seedlings. I'll just kind of dig trenches and plant my seeds in here and then water everything in. Alright, last up, I'm just using my watering can to water everything in. Because I planted kind of sporadically, I'm just going back over any spot that I think that there are seeds, any spot I know I planted in. And we are supposed to get some rain today, so we'll see. You can see the brown drip tubing, so this whole area is on drip irrigation. And I think probably what I'll do is either come out with a watering can or give it a little extra water through the drip irrigation system on my timer. As these start to grow, I'll be able to kind of back off on the water, but it'll just help them germinate to keep them evenly moist. One thing of interest before I go, this is a forsythia that I'm growing for cut foliage use, and I've cut on it a lot. You can see all of this kind of brighter green is new growth, and then the darker is at the base. That stuff I haven't cut on because I didn't want to get too close to the ground. But forsythias bloom in very, very early spring, except this guy is blooming right now all of a sudden. So I don't know if you guys have experienced this. It's only blooming on this one branch. I don't know what is telling it needed to bloom. It was pretty cool last night, but not anything like our wintertime temperatures that would indicate that it needs to start blooming. So I don't know what's going on there. Thanks for coming along with me as I got caught up on some of my garden chores, and thank you so much as always for growing with me.